In this video, we're going to put the finishing touches on our team player card dashboard by adding some filter controls, as well as adding multiple copies of the athlete card that we've created so that it creates this dashboard, which when printed, will print to a single sheet. This is going to be the final video in this series, so let's get after it. Okay, so we're back, and to remind you where we got to in the last video, we spent some time creating the most recent date and maximum date categories and then calculating how long it's been since that athlete has hit their max compared to their most recent score. Now in this video, the first thing we want to do is be able to return their status based on the athlete name that has been selected. So what I'm going to do is create a filter formula here. So I'm going to type equals filter, and the range that I want to return is under my data column, and I want to return the status of the athlete, so that is stored in K to K, and comma, I want to do that when the athlete name, I to I, I2 to I, is equal to our athlete name on the sheet here, which is stored in J6. Now I'm not going to lock this in, and I'll show you why in a minute, but I am going to lock in these ranges by using F4 to put dollar signs in front of them. And then the second condition is I want to return the most recent version of this. So in my data column, I'll go back to the date. We're going to go J2 to J, and I'm going to lock that one in. And when that is equal to max of J2 to J, under the condition of filter, when the name I2 to I, again, is equal to, I2 to I, again, is equal to J6, and the status, which is K2 to K, is not empty. So what this formula is doing is basically I'm returning the status of the athlete by using K2 to K, and then I'm returning it when the athlete name, I2 to I, is equal to the athlete name we've selected. And then I'm also doing it when the date J2 to J is equal to the max of another formula that is finding the max date of that athlete that has a record on that time. So when I hit enter, what you're going to see is it's going to give me this value of full. If I were to switch my athlete around, you can see that it's going to pull out the most recent version of that status basically for us. So I'll put it back to athlete 6, I believe is the one we had. Now, you can see that it's automatically highlighting a color here. How I did that was I just created a conditional format. So what I'll do is select that cell, go to Format, Conditional Formatting, and I've just created a formatting that basically looks at that cell, and when the text is exactly what we've called it, either full, out, or limited, I just apply a color to it. So for out, we're using a red. Limited, we're using a yellow color, and then full, we're using a green color. So that's basically it. Once I hide these, that is our athlete card, and it is pretty much completed. Now, from here, there's a couple of things that I want to be able to do. What you'll notice is if I were to control copy this and paste it, a lot of these formulas are going to mess up because of different things. So in this case, it's that some of the ranges that we've used were not locked in. So if we were to go ahead and lock those in this case, in this one here, so F4, 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 and hit enter. If I were to go paste that now, you can see that now it works. And as I select different athletes, things change. But none of this changes here. And the reason for that is that we are using locked references. So in this case, it's still referencing J6, which is this cell over here on the left, as the athlete. It's not referencing S6. Now it's going to take us a lot of time to be able to go through and change all the J6s to S6, and we could do that no problem. But what I'm going to do is actually create a formula or use a function called find and replace that does that for us. Now, what I can do here is I'm going to select all of the cells where there is a formula, and I'm going to try Control F. And that's going to open up a little bar on the top right-hand corner here that says Find in Sheet. if I go to more options, it's going to give me this window here. And the thing that I want to find and change is this idea of J6. But we want to be specific. So I want to change $J, $6. And I want to create an open reference. So anytime it sees $J, $6, what I want it to replace it with is just J6, which will create an open reference. And I want to do that on the cells from G10 all the way basically to L14. And I want to search within formulas. So when I select this, it's going to search within all of the formulas within that range. So once I'm there, I can hit replace all, and you can see that it replaced it 25 times J6, dollar signs with J6. And in my formula up here, you can see that that indeed is the case. So if I go through, all of my J6s are now open reference. Okay. Now the next thing that we want to change is there's two more locked in references that we need to change. The first one is every time we've matched I10, or in this case I11, 12, etc., it is referencing this here. But if I wanted to change the different tests over here, we want it to be able to update accordingly. So in order to do that, what we'll do is we'll select all of it, Control F. We want to more options, and we want to search for $I1, and we want to just replace it with I1. We'll look within formulas, replace all. You can see it's done 25 instances, and now all of our I10s are just I10 or I11, 12, 13, 14, etc. And then the last thing that we might want to change is, there was one other thing, K10 here. So K10 for this formula is looking at whatever the max value was for that. So I can just select my max dates here, Control F, more options, and we want to look for $K1, and we want to replace it with K1. We want to look within formulas, replace all. It should find it 5 times, and then done. So now, if I were to Control C and then paste this over here, I should be able to switch any of these values because they're no longer locked references, and we'll automatically get the data for that athlete. So that's part number 1. Now part number 2 is we want to create some filter values. So over here, I've just created some cells. There's 2 cells here. We're going to use the word filter here. And essentially, I'm going to create a spot where we can select metric 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we'll say is select metric 1, and I'm just going to bold that, drag it down 5 times, and then I'm going to create a drop-down menu here. I can basically just copy this one and paste it in, and I'll just change the formatting on this a little bit. We'll go no cells, and then I'll do a light yellow color. I want to be able to select my values once and then have it update across the entire dashboard. So we'll create a little formula here that basically says if there's a value in here, then I want you to be that value here. If there's not, then I want you to give a value of 0. So what this is going to look like is we'll remove the data validation here. So data validation, remove. Oops. I'm going to undo that because I only want to remove it from the I cells. We want to leave it on C. So we'll leave it on C. Hit done. Okay, so equals if this cell here does not equal nothing, then return that cell there. Otherwise, return nothing. I'm going to lock these in because I know that they're really never going to change, but I'll just lock in the column to start because that way I can drag it down. Whoops, I just dragged it one too far. So now we get C7, C8, C9, C4, or C10. Okay, so we're looking at these cells here, so you can see they'll match those cells there. If I were to change it, you can see that it matches. I'll put it back. Now I'm just going to update the formatting here to put it back to the way we had it. Now, the last thing I want to do is I actually want to lock these in the whole way so that as I'm moving it over, it's not going to change or moving it down. So Control F, more options. This time we're going to look for $C, and we want to replace it for $C. Look in formulas, and that's going to take all of these C values, replace all, and just lock them in the whole way. So you can see how this find and replace formula becomes super powerful. So from there, what I want to do is I want to add all of these cells right, and I'm just going to remove all these formattings. We're going to finish off this dashboard a little bit here. So another trick in Google Sheets is what I can do is I can Control C, copy these, and then right click paste, and I can just paste the width. And now you can see that now the cells match the width. So I should be able to just take this now, paste it over one more, and then we'll leave a space, and I'm going to paste all 3 of them down below. We're going to do that 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have 6 of these, and I should be able to go through and switch them around to whatever athlete I want to look at. And everything should update accordingly. So you can see if we had a whole roster, we could just go through and switch all these around to different athletes. And because we've updated all those formulas, everything works fine. And there's 2 things we're going to do next to make this printable. I'm just going through and changing the athletes. Now, one thing I like to do at the bottom of my dashboards, I'm going to leave 2 spaces, and then I'm going to basically merge and center this. And I like to just put these double borders on the top and bottom. I just think it looks good. So I have a double border here, and I'm just going to put, I don't know, team, athlete, card, dashboard. And I'm just going to center that with some big font. So let's go like an impact. We'll make it nice and big. And then I'll center it. And I'm going to put it in the middle. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the top. So we'll go 3 across. And for this one, I'm going to add a big border all the way across. And I'll put team, athlete, card, dashboard. And I'm going to make this bold. Make it big, impact. Big, 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 big. Put that in the middle. Put it in the middle of the cell. And you can see right like that we have a bit of a dashboard now. So if I were to go to print, this is how it would look on a print. We can start to play around a little bit with some of the sizes of things. So I have basically a print margin all the way around. If we go fit to height, now it basically prints this out to 1 page. We might want to go formatting. We might want to center line it on both. And then we have a full page. Now in order to adjust the different margins on the side, basically what you can do here is go to margins, custom numbers, and this opens up this. And you can make these kind of whatever you want. We could make it 0.1 on all sides if we wanted it to fit just a little tighter. But basically you would just play around with that to make it fit how you want. And then that's really it. So you can see we've just edited a few formulas and then repasted that a bunch of times, and we have a fully functioning dashboard. If we wanted to switch the test that we're looking at, we just go through here and it's automatically going to switch for every athlete on the dashboard because of how we've set up all of our references, and we can get a quick status update of every athlete at any time. So I hope this video helps you out. If it does, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any ideas for future videos, you can leave those down in the comments below. And if you could share this with a coach that you think would find it helpful, that really helps the channel grow. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.